I'm Joanna Small, your Public Information Officer for the Wheat Ridge Police Department. It's Friday, April 28th, and this is your WRPD Video Week in Review. Here's a summary of some of the most notable incidents your Wheat Ridge patrol officers responded to over this past week, as well as a couple of cases our detectives could really use your help in resolving. Late this morning, a suspected DUI driver caused a head-on collision on 32nd, shutting down the roadway between Teller and Vance for over an hour. Both drivers were transported to the hospital. Overnight on April 27th, an intoxicated driver struck a light pole with her vehicle in the 3400 block of Youngfield. The light pole became embedded in her vehicle, and she continued to drive for a couple of blocks until the vehicle shut off. She was issued a summons for driving under the influence and was transported to the hospital. Also on April 27th, officers contacted a woman for a welfare check due to reports she was extremely intoxicated and unable to get off the floor. Both officers and firefighters found the woman in her garage. Inside her residence, officers discovered urine and dog feces covering the floor. The woman was transported to the hospital for mental health and physical care, while her dogs were transported to a local shelter due to the house being uninhabitable. On April 26th, officers were called to an attempted aggravated robbery in the 62nd 100 block of West 41st. The victim reported he was approached by two males, one of whom pointed a gun and demanded the victim's wallet. The victim said he had nothing to hand over, so the suspects fled on foot. One was located by officers almost immediately. With the help of neighboring agencies, the second was located in a van and initially refused to come out. He eventually did comply with orders and was taken into custody without further incident. We appreciate the assistance from Lakeside, Mountain View, and Lakewood police departments. Also on April 26th, several WRPD officers worked what's called a pedestrian safety grant, focusing on traffic-related issues and primarily pedestrians behaving dangerously, oftentimes jaywalking, endangering themselves, and the drivers who have to swerve to avoid injuring or worse, killing them. They issued 2 summonses for pedestrians improperly using the center median and 3 traffic citations while working this grant. On April 25th, officers were called to the hospital for reports that a person there was causing a disturbance. Upon contact of the suspect, officers learned he had a $100,000 bond warrant for burglary. He was transported to the jail on the warrant. Also on April 25th, officers responded to a disturbance and to look for a 15-year-old runaway in the 3700 block of Parfit Street. The missing teen's parents and her boyfriend's parents got into a yelling match at this location. When the teen was located, she was placed in a patrol car for her safety, which angered her boyfriend. In an attempt to get to his girlfriend, he punched an officer. The boyfriend is now facing second-degree assault on a peace officer charges. On April 24th, patrol officers contacted 2 individuals in a vehicle in an apartment complex parking lot in the 7800 block of West 43rd Avenue. One of the suspects lied about their name, while the other was found to have fentanyl on her person. They were both issued summonses for false reporting and drugs. Also on April 24th, officers responded to reports of a suspicious vehicle left in the roadway on Fenton Street and found an individual leaning into the passenger side. An officer attempted to contact the suspect and a scuffle ensued. During that scuffle, the suspect attempted unsuccessfully to disarm an officer. The suspect was transported to the Jefferson County Jail on 6 warrants that totaled over $43,000. He's also facing unlawful possession of a controlled substance charges for having drugs on his person and in the vehicle, as well as obstruction and resisting arrest charges. The vehicle was impounded. On April 23rd, a patient at a Lutheran Medical Center facility threw a hardbound book at a nurse, striking the nurse in the face. This broke the nurse's nose and caused significant bleeding and what's referred to as serious bodily injury. That patient is now facing second-degree assault charges. There were also 2 incidents we highlighted as standalone posts on our social media pages this week. Earlier this week, Lakeside police officers contacted a driver passed out in his vehicle in the 7000 block of West 38th Avenue and took him into custody. When our officers arrived, we found nearly 36 grams of fentanyl in the vehicle, as well as a large quantity of heroin. The suspect provided a false name and a false identification document from another country. He's facing DUI, possession with intent to distribute, unlawful possession of a controlled substance, unlawful use of a license, and obstruction charges. We would like to thank our vigilant community for jumping into action last Sunday when we posted about a 3-year-old child who wandered into the 7-Eleven on Kipling overnight. We were attempting to identify him and then locate a parent. Within hours, and after thousands of shares on social media, we did find a parent. That incident is still under investigation, but we're happy to report that child is safe. Now here are a couple of cases detectives could really use your eyes on, so please take a look at your screen. We know it's a long shot because the surveillance video really doesn't show much in the way of faces, but do you recognize these people burglarizing Southern Tire Mart in the 12,000 block of West 44th Avenue on April 16th? You can see them rolling tires out of the lot. If you believe you have any information about that theft, please contact our investigations team at the number that's listed there on your screen. What about this case? On April 23rd, we responded to a theft at the Wheat Ridge Recreation Center. A dark gray Dodge Ram with a trailer attached pulled up outside the east front entrance of the rec center. A male shut the passenger side door of the truck and the truck left the area. The man then disappeared from camera view and reappeared on a green bicycle, which he rode away southbound. The victim told officers that bike is expensive, worth about $12,000. If you believe you have any information about the person responsible for this crime again, please call that number that's listed on your screen. In between your calls for service, officers proactively patrolled areas in our city which we know to be higher in criminal activity, contacting people for lesser crimes, typically jaywalking and trespassing. That oftentimes leads to arrests for things like outstanding warrants, drugs, and/or drug paraphernalia. We also spend time cracking down on dangerous driving behavior in parts of our city where we have personally noticed it and you've told us about it. Excluding our crash and traffic team officers, patrol officers alone issued approximately 45 traffic citations this past week. That's all for now. We'll see you next time. And remember, if you need us, we're always just minutes away. Also, Wheat Ridge High School, enjoy your prom tonight.